everybody, what's going on? Happy Wednesday night. It's night. It's no longer evening. It's night now. Of course, it's time for the DFS Pick Six, the RotoWorld DFS Pick Six, presented by RotoGrinders. I'm Eric Crane, and it's been a crazy start to this show already. We normally start 25 minutes ago. We were going to start 10 minutes ago. Reeves and I were here, and then Reeves had some headphone problems, and Reeves left. And now, joining me, we got Evan Silva with the fresh dude. Evan, how we doing, man?
Yeah, we're thinking about my new fade, man. I just got this new haircut. I don't usually have time for haircuts during the season, but I'm feeling real fresh right now. Do you agree that I look fresh?
You are a fresh-looking cat, my man. Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, a fresh haircut is always just, dude, you just feel so much better after a fresh. Like, I trimmed the beard today, and I feel lighter, which, again, that's grading on a scale, not that big of a deal. But, you feel good. The kid can't grab my hair, my beard anymore and just, like, yank hairs out. Dude,
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Oh, my God. I had no idea, man. Like, my kid's got a death grip. So I'm just holding him. Next thing I know, I'm just, just getting pulled everywhere. Yeah, Evan, how you looking forward to this Thanksgiving slate?
I love Thanksgiving, man. I love playing daily fantasy on Thanksgiving. I always talk myself into really suboptimal plays.
Hey, welcome to my world.
Yeah, but hey, sometimes they work out. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Like sometimes these bad plays work out, and then you learn about bad process and you get good results. And that's always the most fun is having bad process and then getting good results.
Hey, I don't care what the process is, man, as long as I get paid at the end.
Exactly, man. Hey, it's all about the results. You know that.
Oh yeah, I got you. But
that's why you played Mohamed Sanu in the Millie Maker line.
Hey, and it's funny. My second biggest DFS win actually came on Thanksgiving, probably about 4 years ago or so. I was still just doing a ton of lineups. Back then you could do 500 lineups. So I just threw So I threw 500 Stafford to Calvin Johnson lineup.
I remember that. That.
I did that, and I also had like a 0.5% Theo Riddick. Oddly, the one guy that's been on my two biggest wins ever, Theo Riddick of all people, and of course Theo Riddick's a thing this week, Evan.
Yes, he is.
I'm pumped for this.
And so is Mohamed Sanu, by the way.
Oh, I know. This is basically my dream scenario right here. Like,
look who decided to show up for the show.
We got Lord Reeves. Now, Reeves, do you know we're live right now?
Oh, are we?
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Yo, Evan, is Nick with you? Tell him to hop on.
No, that's tomorrow.
It's hilarious because Evan was like, man, I'm going to be late. Next thing you know, I was not expecting Evan and I to start the show and then Reeves to show up at the end. It was funny. So, how you looking forward to this Thanksgiving Day slate, Reeves?
Oh man, I was looking a lot forward to it till all the backup quarterbacks are playing, but it's gonna be fun regardless. It's always a fun day of football. Just drink a lot of beer, eat a lot of food, watch a lot of football, have a lot of terrible football conversations. At least now this year, I do not have to have the Hugh Jackson conversation any longer with my family. It has been lifted from the Rebar Thanksgiving, tradition of trying to explain to my father-in-law how terrible the head coach Hugh Jackson was.
Wait, hold on. You and your family actually had Hugh Jackson discussions?
Yeah, well,
he lives in Cleveland, man.
All right. It's still just like, whew, that's
no, Reeves, take it away.
Yeah, honestly, man, Thanksgiving, you want to be happy, and I feel like Hugh Jackson discussion is not a way to be happy and thankful on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving basically manifested from is Tony Romo good into is with my family to is Hugh Jackson good. So now it's is John Dorsey good. So now it's just it's one of those things, man. It's just a never-ending circle of football conversation hell. But we're gonna get through it. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna have Chase Daniel to get us, bridge that morning gap to the afternoon game of Colt McCoy, and then we'll have fun at night when we're all imbibed and liquored up.
Yeah, it's funny because you do not want to be winning money on this slate early. If you're crushing stuff early and after the first two games, you should not be feeling good about stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about these first two games. Obviously, we got a couple appetizers before the big boy game at night. But the first one, it's the Bears at the Lions, 43-point total. The Bears are 3-point favorites on the road. And, I guess Chase Stanley is going to increase his career passing attempts by 30% in this game, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess he is. I mean, he's thrown 78 passes in his NFL career in terms of regular season. Like for me, I'm like big on preseason. So, I think of him as like, a 500 or 600 attempt passer. Like this preseason, he had 74 attempts. In his NFL career, he has 78 attempts. And he's been around since freaking '09. I mean, you're a Missouri, close to Missouri.
Yeah, I'm in the Midwest.
Train. Yeah. And I remember when he was coming out of college, I mean, he was like kind of like a little, I'm not anyone to, call anybody chubby, but he was like a beer drinking, quarterback at Mizzou. And, he's mildly athletic. He's got a weak arm, but he's been with great quarterback coaches throughout his entire career. I mean, the Saints with Sean Payton were the first team to pick him up. And then he spent like the entire rest of his career with like delineations of the Andy Reid tree, with Andy Reid in Philly, and now with Matt Nagy. So he's had like the best quarterback coaching, and he was really good in the preseason. But his skill set is really, really limited. And I've heard a lot of people say like, and a lot of people that I respect say that there's not going to be a lot of drop off from Mitchell Trubisky to Chase Daniel. I don't know how you can say that. And I'm not even a big Mitchell Trubisky guy necessarily, because Mitchell Trubisky is an elite athlete at the quarterback position. He leads all NFL quarterbacks in rushing yards right now. He passed Cam Newton last week, and he's attempted almost 20% of his passes 20 plus yards downfield, by far most in the NFL. So, and Chase Daniel in his career has attempted 5% of his passes 20 plus yards downfield. So I think that there are great disparities in their skill set. It doesn't mean that the Bears are going to stink on Sunday. I actually think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game. What it comes down to, can we get 2 touchdowns, 220 yards, and maybe a rushing touchdown out of Chase Daniel? Because in that scenario, he mashes value and he allows you to, jam all the studs in.
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest issue is I just think it's nuts to not play a quarterback from the Saints game. That's kind of what I keep going back to. Like, I understand the value there with Daniel at 4.3K, but I mean, sheesh, like I just can't fade that game. Reeves, what do you think about Chase Daniel coming in here? Is he viable for you this week?
I mean, maybe just to sprinkle some ownership in if you're someone that's just trying to cover the field. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously going to be the heaviest on the 2 guys in the night game. I'm curious to see what this does for the game plan for the Bears. Because Evan talked about, how much the Trubisky was running and throwing downfield. If he's going to be a guy that's going to play, kind of close to the vest, we still really can't count on Jordan Howard to do anything yardage-wise. He might fall into the end zone once or twice, but we cannot count on him to do anything yardage-wise. He's averaging 57 yards per game over his past 9 games played. He totally tanked at home against this Lions defense 2 weeks ago. So we can't expect him to go on the road and really hit. So if it's going to be something where the throws get shrunk to the line of scrimmage, it's going to benefit Tariq Cohen and it's going to benefit Anthony Miller, their primary slot receiver, than it is the other guys in this offense. I know Allen Robinson hung that crooked number on the Lions 2 weeks ago, but no Darius Slay. When he plays in the perimeter, he'll have Darius Slay this week. Last week, Allen Robinson ran his lowest percentage of routes from the slot he did all season. He was running over 50% of his routes since he came back. And then last week they just nixed the plug on it, against Xavier Rhodes and just said, here, we'll throw you to the Wolves and let you go out there for, 82% of your routes and just get shadowed by one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They did nothing to scheme him away from Xavier Rhodes. They almost made him like a kind of a decoy in a sense. And Anthony Miller only had 3 targets last week, but this sets up for him. The Lions are 25th in receiving points allowed to the slot receiver. Like I said, Slay coming back is just going to funnel targets, inside. So, I mean, I'm looking at Tariq Cohen and I'm looking at Anthony Miller as the 2 guys that will be altered here and, have some value with the move to Chase Daniel.
It's a Cohen game.
Yeah,
it sets up perfectly. If you play preseason DFS too, you play the running back with Chase Daniel because he loves to check it down. He came up under Alex Smith. He's Alex Smith's disciple. Loves to dump it down to the RB. So it's if I'm playing DK, I'm putting Tariq Cohen, I think, in every single lineup, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm thinking about playing him on FanDuel too. I mean,
Oh yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, it's like you look, the regards are going to be there, and he can always get into the end zone too. I mean, Reeves mentioned Jordan Howard, and like this is a guy who I'm done playing. Evan, what do you think about Jordan Howard?
Trash.
Yeah, it's just like and people are going to play him on the slate. Make no mistake about it.
Good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got right now. I think I've got like 8 running backs in my player pool, and he's not in them. Like, I just have no desire to play Jordan Howard this week. I'm going to have some Zach Zenner, and I'm not going to have some Jordan Howard. Like, it's just.
The question is Matt Nagy going to play Jordan Howard? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It just doesn't make sense, especially with the Lions. You know, they got those 2 big defensive tackles. I just don't really see a reason they go there. And on the Lions side, you know, obviously no Marvin Jones, no Kerryon Johnson this week. So, Reeves, when we look at this Lions offense, is it the Garrett week, as you like to say?
Hell no, absolutely not.
Well, how can you not say the Garrett?
Because the Garrett his last 4 games has 21 rushing attempts and 16 yards. Basically, if he just got the ball and fell down, he'd have more yards than if he tried to run with it, the past month. And the Bears have by far and away the best run defense in the NFL. So, I mean, I'm just not going to, mess with the Garrett or even ZZ Top this week. I'm basically looking at, obviously the Sax man, Kenny G, Babytron, whatever nickname you prefer.
No
the guy
casual football observers have any idea about your nicknames. Just by the way, like ZZ.
No, that's not my nickname.
Like, who's he talking about? Who's he talking about?
No, I'll tell you, he said ZZ Top, and I did. I looked up at my sheet real quick. Okay, ZZ.
Who has the long beard on the team?
Yeah,
who has the long beard?
Okay, no Zach Sorry, listen, man. Kenny Galladay is the dude that you want to play on this offense. It's all you want to do. 13 and 14 targets the past 2 games. Leads the NFL in targets the past 2 games. He leads the league in air yards. He has 35% of team targets, 65% of their air yards the last 2 games. Marvin Jones isn't playing. Bruce Ellington now may not play. He's magically hurt. He came back for 1 game and is hurt again. The story of Bruce Ellington's life. So, I mean, you obviously look at Kenny Galladay and you say, even if he only catches half of his targets, he's going to have so many targets it's not going to freaking matter. So, obviously, he's the dude. And then you got to go back to – we talked about Riddick last week, and he didn't hit Theo Riddick. But 2 weeks ago when they played this Bears team, him and Kerryon Johnson combined for 14 targets and 12 receptions. Kerryon Johnson is now out. Maybe Zach Zenner gets some of that passing work. But I mean, it just is another week to go back to Theo Riddick and say it makes sense to play him again. I mean, 63% of the fantasy points the Bears are allowing to the running back position come through passing in PPR formats. They don't give up anything on the ground. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where you just hold your nose and say Theo Riddick is another viable option in PPR formats again this week.
Yeah, you mentioned Theo Riddick not getting there last week, and I feel like last week, and Evan, what do you think? Because I think that was kind of his floor. Got 8 points. He saw the targets, caught some balls, didn't really hit anything. But, I mean, I don't really see him scoring less than 8 points in this matchup. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, hey, if 8 points are your bag, I'm trying to, I'm out here trying to make loot, Crane, like 8 points.
Yeah, I'm saying that's
I don't even think about 8 points. I don't think about 8 points. LeGarrette Blount could get 8 points. Michael Roberts could get 8 points. Austin Carr could get 8 points. Keith Kirkwood, killer Keith Kirkwood, he'd get 8 points. 8 points, I don't care about 8 points, man. Okay?
Because for Zach Zenner, I'll be happy with it.
True.
Yeah. All right, so are you not playing Theo then this week, Evan?
No.
Really? Why not? Because I thought
I like touchdowns.
I mean, it's a 3-game slate. You're not going to get every touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Theo Riddick doesn't really score touchdowns, though. I mean, so I'm trying to avoid the Lions RBs. I mean, there's no real reason to play them. Hey, listen, if you're on DraftKings and you're doing, 45,000 lineups, maybe
that's actually how many I'm doing this week.
Maybe put them in, 0.5% or whatever. That might equate to, 365 lineups, but. I'm trying to get touchdowns, homie.
All right, that's fine. I mean, I have interest in all these guys. I really do. Like maybe I'm just crazy, but I think like they're all just too cheap. Riddick's 4,500, Zenner's 3K, the Garrett's 4K, and like
listen, Reeves is the Garrett whisperer. Whatever he says about the Garrett, listen, I wanted the Garrett to happen. Okay. I do we do like me and Reeves and Pat Thorman, we have this, this like little chat on text message. And I was like, LeGarrette Blount he's a must play on FanDuel at 4,600. And Reeves was like, nah, man. And then I was like, oh, really? Okay. You know, like you have to take notice of what Reeves says about LeGarrette. He called LeGarrette leading the freaking NFL in rushing touchdowns in 2016. Okay. And I know that, you know, with hindsight back checking, it doesn't look like that big of a deal, but that was a really big deal because that dude was going in the 11th round of season-long drafts. Okay. So that was an incredible call. Whatever Reeves says about the Garrett, take that seriously, please.
All right, so Reeves, tell me we can play him. Just go back on what you said. Tell me we can play him.
Well, I mean, the conversation I had with Evan about LeGarrette Blount, he just had with me on the show about Theo Riddick, so I've just got to back his play on that too.
What? Those are like two of my guys, man. Like, you guys are just hating now.
I mean, because I can't play LeGarrette Blount, man. I just can't. It just makes no sense.
Well, it's a 3-game slate.
I know, but there's good running backs on the slate. There actually is good running backs on the slate.
Yeah, I'm guessing I'm just different than everybody this week because to me, I think there's value running backs are really interesting. And obviously, we like Kenny Galladay, Bruce Ellington, if he suits up. 9 targets last week. We're going to have interest there. Anything else in this game, Reeves, that we need to touch on?
Not really. Not like Bruce Ellington looks like he's dead and we can't trust him and mix him into any lineups. I mean, it's just not, man. This game just doesn't have a lot. These first 2 are going to be interesting, but you know what? These are the guys. If you have an ancillary guy pop in one of these games, then that could be the tide turner, man.
Like Zach Center.
Like Zach Center. ZZ Top, baby.
Hey, look, Zach Center rhymes with winner, baby. That's all I'm saying. All right, well, let's move on to crap game number 2. It's a 40.5-point total. The Dallas Cowboys at home, they are 7-point favorites. And on the Washington side, Colt McCoy's starting. Golly, Evan, it is really tough to get excited about anybody on this Washington offense.
It really is. It's ugly. I mean, your first concern is that the Cowboys are just going to have the ball the entire freaking game. I mean, the Redskins' run defense looked good there for about, like 3 or 4 weeks. But, I mean, they're getting smashed again. Cowboys' run blocking has been great. Zeke is just freaking rolling. They're at home. They're, monster favorites at home. Redskins' offensive line matches up really poorly against the Cowboys' defensive line right now. It's just – and look, the Cowboys are prone to underachievement. Like, we know that. But, man, I mean, they have so many advantages in this game. The Redskins they just lost their starting quarterback. They're a run-based team that, has lost 40 to 60% of their offensive line, facing a team on the road as big underdogs that has been good at defending the run. I mean, it does not set up well, man, for the Redskins. Like, I would be worried that they have 47 offensive plays in this game. Last week, the Falcons, they averaged 65 plays per game. And last week they had 55 plays at home against the Cowboys. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really tough to get behind any of these guys. And I mean, I guess you could make a case for a guy like Jordan Reed. Last time when Colt McCoy started, he targeted Reed a ton. But I don't know. Reeves, do you have a lot of interest in this Redskins offense?
No, I mean, the only guy you can kind of coax yourself into is Reed. Other than that, I mean, you look at these wide receivers. I mean, Josh Doxson hasn't gone over. He hasn't even had 50 yards in a game yet this season. Trey Quinn came back and shoved Maurice Harris out of the slot and outside. Trey Quinn ran 36 pass routes. He's kind of interesting, on DK. As a guy maybe you just want to throw some ownership at, for kind of like a floor upside play. Dallas is weaker in the slot than they are in the boundaries. Maybe he can make a play or two. His skill set matches up with what skill set Colt McCoy has, if we want to call it a skill set. The intermediate passing game. And Colt McCoy hasn't started since 2014. It's hard to draw back on any of those and say, well, he targeted Jordan Reed a lot in 2014.
Dude,
that's going to happen.
I'm grasping at straws, man.
I know, I hear that. But Jordan Reed is the one guy that you can count on for targets in that offense.
Here's a question for you guys. Okay, so let's say you were setting Madden ratings. Okay, so your overall
like this job.
rating toward 100. Rating toward 100 for Alex Smith and Colt McCoy. Where would you have Alex Smith and where would you have Colt McCoy? Don't give me any specifics. I want to hear, just in terms of skill set, not like leadership crap either. Colt McCoy is a good leader, by the way. You know,
he is a good leader.
Yeah, he is a damn good leader.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to go Alex Smith, 76, Colt McCoy, 69.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. So that's what I was going to have. One guy's like a mid C and the other guy's a D plus. That's basically what we're at.
Oh, wait. Are we on the grading scale or on the number scale?
Well, that's the same difference. 76% and 69% is exactly what I said. Same thing. Like basically go for it.
I was gonna go 66 for Alex Smith and 64 for Colt McCoy.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. So I didn't know you were doing the ratings after Alex Smith's legs got crushed. Sorry, too soon?
Ooh, it was rough, man. That was a tough one. That was one I was like, I don't need to see the replay of that. No, thank you.
Yeah, I watched it live and I'm like, I have to watch it again because I'm a sicko. But yeah, no, I was.
There's been a couple of this year. The Delaney one was like immediately week one when Delaney had his foot turned backwards. I was like, nope, don't need to see that again. Like, just turn away. But yeah, when you look at this Washington team, since they haven't scored more than 23 points in a game since week 3. Like there's a reason this game total is 40 freaking points.
Yeah.
It's gross. Like Evan said, you've got a situation where Washington isn't going to force Dallas out of their comfort zone and to do things that they don't want to do. And Washington just doesn't have the horses to play from behind or have any type of pass protection to really just gear up and ramp up any type of game where they're playing from behind either. They're going to try to we saw it like they did last week. They played from behind the whole game and ran the same offense they always run, just terrible. Yeah, you can't trust Peterson either. I mean, Peterson the past 3 games behind this offensive line that is just basically us 3 playing on it right about now. He's rushed 44 times for 136 yards the past 3 games, 3.1 yards per carry. If he doesn't fall in the end zone, like you might like him, if you're not going to play, I just bagged on LeGarrette Blount. Like this is just LeGarrette Blount with more carries.
Yeah, no, look, I think of Adrian Peterson. To me, I just see this game playing so slow. Adrian Peterson, they might just handle the ball 20, 25 times, whether he's effective or not. Like, this is just one of those games where I'm glad it's during prime napping time on Thanksgiving because I don't have a lot of interest in watching it. Evan, what do you think about Adrian Peterson or even these, Washington pass catchers?
I mean, I kind of like Trey Quinn just because of his price, but, I would rather like Jamison Crowder plays because he got upgraded to questionable today. I'd rather he plays, and then so I just don't play Trey Quinn at all. And then with Jordan Reed, I'm tempted to play him, but I really don't want to play him because again, I'm really just worried that the Redskins are going to have like fewer than 50 offensive plays in this game. It's a gross game. I mean, it's awful.
What tight end does anyone willingly want to click on this slate?
I got a cheap one.
Well, I'm sure there's a couple guys we could just say we'll take stabs at. Is there anyone you absolutely willing to want to do this?
I got a cheap one from this game.
You gonna VD? You gonna catch some VD?
Jarwin? Blake Jarwin?
Big Vern, baby. Big Vern. Who better to celebrate Thanksgiving with than a dude named Big Vern catching a touchdown pass?
I like that. He's catchless in like 3 of his last 5 games, but
he had 3 targets last week. Why not? Colt McCoy likes to throw tight ends. He likes to throw short. I'm just saying that, like, if you want to win a 3-game slate, you're not going to do it by loading up on Zeke, Kamara, and Kenny Galladay. Like, that ain't like you're going to need one of these random ass dudes, and one of these guys always goes off, but gets there at a minimum price on a slate where when I'm playing Breeze, Thomas, and Kamara so often, I need some of these cheap guys, and I'm willing to gamble on guys like Big Vern.
Well, you said you had an 8-man running back pool, and 6 of them were Lions running back, so. The other 2 guys.
Well, you know who else I have in that running back pool, Reeves, right?
That you have?
Cavs out, baby.
Oh, Cavs out? No, yeah.
Please don't. Seriously. Like
half-calf Bibbs?
He lost playing time to Byron Marshall last week. Do not play Capri Bibbs, please.
I'll play Byron Marshall then. Why not? Cavs out, baby. No, these first get like a lot of interest in him.
No, seriously, I think I'm going to end up playing a Cowboys tight end. I think.
Which one?
I don't know.
That's like I kind of looked at this, and they have a combined 2 targets the last 3 weeks. Dalton Schultz regathers Blake Jarwin. Like on the Cowboys,
I think Blake Jarwin's going to run the most routes, so that's who I'm going to play.
All right. I mean, that's golly. I just don't know what to do with this. Like,
not that he's a good play. He's not a good play. Trust me.
Yeah, like to me with this Cowboys side, I'm playing Zeke and I'm playing Amari, and I just don't have a lot of interest in anybody else. Like all the usage is going to flow through those 2 guys, isn't it, Evan?
Except Reeves, tight ends don't matter, right?
No, they don't. Definitely don't matter. Someone's probably gonna win the turn with like a 0 from a tight end in this slate. It's not gonna matter.
I agree.
I get that big burn.
It should surprise no one if literally not a single tight end on the slate scores more than like 7.4 or something.
Yeah, I mean if there's a double-digit PPR tight end in the slate, obviously the odds on favorite will be Reed, but like, would anyone be surprised if there wasn't one?
I mean, Reed and Trey.
Will there be 2? Will there be 2? That's a good question.
No, I mean, I'll tell you what. Highest tight end score 10 this week. Over under.
Not on FanDuel. On DK.
I'll go over. I'll go over, but I will say that only 1 goes over on the entire slate.
All right. Then I feel like I said a good line.
Tight end touchdowns over under 1.5 on the slate.
Under. I think one hits. And it's coming
Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold catches the TD, baby.
Kevin Arnold, he's due.
Dude, that dude's like 7'6". He's like Groot on the football field. Dude's due. He's due to catch one. They keep bringing it. If they're gonna give Taysom Hill goal line reps and red zone reps, we got to get Dan Arnold. Some high pointing action. He's taller than everyone.
Yeah, and his girlfriend Winnie, she was real hot like back in the day too.
Yeah, but she cheated on him with that lifeguard. It was just bogus.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Out of here. It's just so bogus. He drove all the way out there and was working as a busboy or like a cook, a short order cook, and she was just banging that lifeguard.
There's some talk about Hooper and that's the guy that might go over. We'll talk about him later. But I want to this Cowboys team to me, Evan. It's Zeke, it's Amari, and the other guys I don't have a lot of interest in. Is there anybody on the Cowboys and I guess Blake Jarwin that you can make a case for?
No.
All right, good talk, Reeves.
What were you're asking about Cowboys players?
Yeah.
Not named Zeke. No, man, I think it's just a Zeke game. Like you just look at what he's done the last 3 games. 112 yards, 187 yards, 201 yards. The Redskins run defense. Last time they played, they held Zeke to 33 yards, but ever since then they've allowed 132 rushing yards per game. It's just, it just feels like a good time to wipe that 33-yard day out of your memory because he's probably gonna, go for like 150 total yards on tomorrow.
Yeah, I really hope people just look at that and say, I can't play Zeke. He was held 33 yards last time. That would be that'd be bizarre. To me, like, if you're not playing Zeke, you're playing Amari Cooper because one of these guys, maybe both of them, they're going to get in the box. And Amari's a guy seeing a lot of red zone usage, a lot of targets since coming over to Dallas. And Evan, to me, Amari's a perfectly fine play on the slate.
Yeah, he's really interesting this week. He's always a bad play when he is the chalk. That's what he was. Literally, like his entire career. Whenever he's the chalk, don't play him. And he was a chalk last week, and that was a really bad play.
Who knew him and Corey Davis would let everyone down?
Yeah, right. But I don't no one's going to play him this week. His price is reasonable. He doesn't have a great matchup, but I think it's not that bad. The Cowboys are definitely incentivized to get him work at home in prime time, technically a primetime game. After giving up a 2019 first-round pick for him, I think that the over/under. Let's just talk targets. What's the over/under on him for targets? I will say 7.5. I'll say 7.5.
I'll take way over. I would have said it like 9.5 or 10.
Okay,
but it's the same reason you just said, where you're just like they've been made fun of forever,
exactly,
for trading for this guy, and the Cowboy, Jerry Jones is sitting around telling Jason Garrett, get Amari the ball, let the world see why we traded for this guy. That is coming out of Jerry Jones.
Like, and Jason Garrett is literally like he's on the string. Of
Jerry. He's not Geppetto. He's the puppet.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, no, Amari Cooper, I think right now is either my highest or my second highest owned wide receiver on this slate. Like, I freaking love Amari this week. And I think he's a direct pivot off of Zeke, but I mean, I don't know about you, Reeves, but I think you need at least one of these guys in every lineup.
Yeah, I'm okay with both. I mean, like, I'm just okay with Amari. Like, I don't really have strong feelings, negatively or positively. I think I'm just more looking at it as we know what the Dallas passing game is going to be. So, I mean, if he has eight targets, say, like, what kind of targets are those 8 targets? Like, he's not getting like shot plays like thrown to him. It's just he's just like a guy out there, which is fine. That's all we really want him to be for fantasy. We've dealt with the Cooper coaster for so long. If he's just an okay guy, we're completely okay with that as well.
Well, everyone accepted, in week 10, everyone accepted like Amari Cooper 6 for 75. We're like, that's an awesome game. I've never seen him have a game like that. It's usually 1 for 10 or 10 for 140 and 1. It's like, 6 for 75. It's like, wow. And I fell victim to that too. This is human nature. But guess what? The dude is inconsistent. He plays on one of the run heaviest teams in the friggin' NFL. This week he's got to go against Josh Norman. It's you're buying into narratives really if you're playing him, which I don't think is a bad idea, especially on a short slate. But there are definitely no guarantees on Amari Cooper.
Well, there's just a gap. I mean, there are no like mid-tier receivers. There's expensive guys, and then you have Galladay, and then it's just like him, and then they're all cheap guys.
Yeah, I agree. What about these other?
Where it is.
Like, what about these other pieces, Reeves, for Dallas? Because I'm just kind of ignoring them. The Michael Gallups, Cole Beasley, Allen Hurns. Like, the chat's talking about Michael Gallup as an interesting play, and to me, I just don't think we have to go here.
Well, we're talking about them not being able to support enough volume for their primary receiver. So when we start going down the line, you start developing a problem. I mean, you've got Cole Beasley, who has a better matchup than Michael Gallup. He caught the long ball against the Redskins last time these two teams played, but that was it. It was Beasley who got all the targets and worked that game. He's going to be running those intermediate routes are what's going to get peppered with the most volume. And if we don't have enough volume that we're questioning supporting a guy that's you trade a first-round pick for, we start moving down the line. We're really pecking at not doing a lot on marginal volume with these guys. So, I mean, I think that they're just okay. They're just swing and miss guys. They all have low floors.
Any of these other secondary plays for you in this game, Evan?
Next game.
All right, let's move on to a game that, people give a damn about. It's the Falcons at the Saints, 60-point total. The Saints at home, they're 13-point favorites. And I so far have started every single lineup with Drew Brees. I have started every lineup with Alvin Kamara. And I have not regretted it yet. Evan, do you think that's a sound strategy?
I do. And I always I start drinking early on Thanksgivings and I make really suboptimal decisions, I tell you, it's like after beer 3 and you're like, oh yes. Who was the Colts quarterback? Tolzien.
Scott Tolzien, you got excited about Scott.
Run Tolzien. You could get in AB, you could get in Lev, everything.
That's what everybody's saying about Chase Daniel this week.
I know. Well, it's honestly tempting. It's very honestly tempting.
Just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I want to play Drew Brees. I'm probably going to, at the end of the day, make really bad decisions. But if right now I have my lineup loaded and Brees is my quarterback. So yeah. So
I mean,
that's where I am.
Yeah, and Reeves, it's just really hard to like your team that much without Brees. Like this pricing on a lot of these guys is soft enough that you can get Brees in. It's not too troublesome. Yeah, you can get everybody in if you play Colt McCoy or if you play Chase Daniel, but I'm going to take my 25 plus points from Brees. He's got the highest floor. He's got the highest ceiling on the slate. The freaking team total's 36 for God's sakes. Like,
he could score 40 points.
Yeah, easily.
It's the highest implied team total for a team since the 2013 Broncos.
Dude, their implied team total, I had to calculate it twice. Like, just breaking it down.
Thought you made a mistake?
Yeah, I was like, that ain't right. That ain't
right. Yeah, I mean,
yep.
I guess you could play Matt Ryan on the other side, but for the most part, I just want to play Drew Brees in this game, right?
Sure, man. Why wouldn't you? I mean, he's just been bonkers, basically. I mean, he's a little under 11 yards per pass attempt his last 3 games, 11 touchdown passes, at least 3 in each. You're walking into the bonus if you're on DK. Like, you're just getting an extra 3 points, which you aren't getting if for your jam him in, for, the Chase Daniel. Like, he's not going to throw over 300 yards. Probably not. Probably the lower end of spectrums. If you actually, if you're talking about 300-yard passes on the slate, I mean, they're both just in this game, probably. I think you can make an argument maybe Stafford gets there just on raw value.
Yeah.
Just on raw value. But yeah, Breeze is walking into that bonus. He's walking into the most touchdowns. He's probably walking into the most yardage. And when we talk, he's facing like the most garbage defense outside of the Buccaneers. I mean, they're 31st in passing points allowed per game, the Atlanta Falcons. So yeah, it all lines up, man. There's just no reason to overthink this one.
Here's a better conversation. Okay, here's a better conversation.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Probably not.
No. So listen. So Mark Ingram's big games have all occurred in massive blowouts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the Monday night game against Washington, the game at Cincinnati, 51-14 or whatever it was, and last week against the Eagles, which was just crazy. I mean, crazy blowout. Okay, so this is the second game in the series between the Falcons and the Saints of the year. The sharp money is on the Falcon side, and it's real strong. When we're talking about like recency bias, I mean, it is so strong in the Saints' favor. We have seen them just smashing teams. We've seen the Falcons friggin' go to Cleveland and lose. We saw them lose at home to the friggin' Cowboys in a game that they absolutely should have won. The recency bias is so strong in the Saints' direction. So, and look, when I break down the game, I'm like, yo, Saints are gonna fuck them up, But I don't know. I also have this trepidation that maybe that's not correct. I saw a stat the other day that none of these games have been decided, by 10 points in like, a decade or something between the Saints and the Falcons. What do you guys think?
I think the Falcons hang around this game. I think it's a division game. I think Matt Ryan, I know it's on the road, but he's in a dome. There's no way that any of these Saints corners can guard Julio, and I think that he just feeds Julio a ton in this one. I think Calvin Ridley's interesting, same for Mohamed Sanu. And to me, I really do think this game stays closer than most do. And that means that I'm interested in some Matt Ryan, because initially I looked at the price difference between Breeze and Ryan, and I said, I don't need it. Like, it's only $600, whatever. I find it $600. And then I found so many different builds that I wanted to make that was like 200 short, 300 short, but they all had Julio. They all had exposure to this Falcons offense. So I said, well, hell, if I just throw Breeze out, bring Matt Ryan in, I'm kind of okay with that from a fantasy perspective. I think this game stays competitive enough. I think it's high scoring. And I think that
that's a big deal on the slate. It's just a big deal on the slate. Like, hey, listen, if you're on that side if you think that the Falcons can hang here, if you think they can score points, if you can get like Tevin Coleman, if you could get like Ridley, I think Sanu is. See, I'm gonna try to play him in cash. I'm gonna try to jam him in cash.
You've been making fun of me for Sanu for 3 years.
True.
But,
well, because I mean, there are reasons for that, Crane.
I know. It's just too funny. Like, welcome to the dark side, buddy.
Yeah, I know. It's pulling my Darth Vader mask.
Darth Silva. I like it.
But no, but I think that there are two keys to the slate. Number one, tight end position. Mm-hmm. You got to get fortunate. You got to get like Blake Jarwin touchdown. Maybe Vernon Davis touchdown. Maybe Josh Hill touchdown. Maybe Kevin Arnold touchdown. Toilolo, T-O-L-O-L-I-O, Toilolo touchdown. Something like that. Like I think that's going to propel you. But also, what could propel you is just maybe hitting the Falcons right. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they're all going to be low owned. I think Julio's going to be low owned. I think Matt Ryan's going to be relatively low owned. I think that both the RBs are going to be relatively low owned. Ridley, I think he'll be decently owned. I think Sanu is real interesting. Hooper, I bet he's going to be high owned, but I think he's a trash play.
I don't like Hooper as much either. I'm finding myself with a lot more Reed, Burton, and Big Vern, but and even some Josh Hill. Reeves, what do you think? Do you think the Falcons hang in this game?
You're definitely the betting side if you're betting on this game, or you're definitely going to take that 13.5, 14 that you're getting. And if you're wagering on this, that's definitely the side you're going to be on for that. So let's say you're on that side that they're going to cover 14. The Saints are going to score probably 40. So you're going to get 28 to work with. We're in business. Yeah, we're in business. That's more than the other teams are going to score in all four of the previous games.
Yeah,
the four previous teams.
I really can't imagine building teams without just loading up on both sides of these games. I will probably be winning exactly $0 before this game.
I'm not even kidding. That should be your goal.
No, of course.
It really should be your goal.
Your currently winning should just be a frowny face. There's just no way that
your goal should be really to have two or three, just say you're running one lineup. Okay, your goal should be to have 2 or 3 guys from the first 2 games, and you get 15 from them both combined. So and you're going into the last one with 30 points, and then you just everyone else that you have. Let's talk about defenses, by the way. Defenses are critical here as well. I think the Cowboys, just from a process standpoint, are the best play on the slate, but I think the Saints are actually on a per dollar basis by far the best defense to play.
See, and I actually feel that way about a really cheap defense, but it's not the Saints, it's the Lions.
Okay.
I feel that way again about the Lions, where I just see I think that game's going to be extra low scoring, and I see them at 2.4K over on DraftKings, and I have interest there. Here's my problem with the Redskins Cowboys defense. Everybody wants to play these defenses, and they're not going to give up points. Point prevention, unless it's a shutout or unless it's under 7 points, it just doesn't matter that much in the world of daily fantasy. The difference between 14
doesn't matter at all.
The difference between giving up 14 and 31 points on DK, I'm pretty sure, is 2 points. That's obviously nothing. So what are we looking for? We're looking for big play potential. Now, when I'm looking for a situation like that, I look at this Washington-Dallas game. Do we really think, with the little number of plays and with neither team's going to air it out, do we really think that these defenses are going to get there? To me, I'm loading up on the Lions and I'm loading up on the Bears, because I think the Lions at home, at that price tag, I have a lot of interest in the Bears. Of course, Matthew Stafford, we can expect him to throw the ball 40 times in this game. And the Bears defense is really freaking good too. So those are the 2 defenses I'm planning on loading up on. What do you think, Reeves?
Yeah, well, you hit on do you want the teams to be in pure passing situations consistently, the opposing offense. So 2 teams you're going to draw yourself to are the Bears and the Saints. Are the 2 teams you're going to draw yourself to. They have the most chances to have opportunities for sacks, forced fumbles, interceptions, defensive touchdowns. And I have no problem with it. Listen, Bales has talked about this for years. We bring it up on the show all the time about playing defenses in these shootouts. You saw it on Monday night. There was 3 defensive touchdowns in that game on Monday night, in a game that had 100 total points scored. Either one of those defenses were both top fantasy plays. It didn't matter that they gave up 50 points each. Didn't matter. I like the Saints a lot. I think they can give up 28 and still be good. I like the Bears a lot for the same reasons. They can give up 14 to 20 points to the Lions and still have a really good game in terms of turnovers. The Bears are just in a smash spot. They're the best defense in the NFL, and they're going to be forcing the team to throw a lot. They can't block and has no receivers. It's not one guy. It's not I'm just going to play a lot of the Bears and a lot of the Saints for those 2 reasons. The reasons that they're going to be the defense in the spots to earn the most points. I'm playing
Saints.
I like it.
Falcons have serious, if you just watch the games, they have serious pass protection meltdowns, especially on the road. They have, I don't understand it. Their offensive line is not bad at all. Their tackles are good. They did lose both of their starting guards, but I don't know. It's sometimes they hold up real well. They have Alex Mack at center. Sometimes they hold up really well. I don't understand. I don't understand. Sometimes with offensive line play, I don't understand it, and man, the Falcons have these games where they're just they can't protect Matt Ryan at all. And Matt Ryan starts to get fearful in the pocket. And that is just like a meltdown situation.
The Browns game 2 weeks ago is exactly like that.
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely was. So was last week. Against Dallas, man.
So I'm really the only one on the Lions defense.
Do you remember the game, the week 1 game? Now, the week 1 game was weird because it was like in crazy ass, like Philly humidity. But my goodness, Matt Ryan looked terrible in that game. I don't know. He has these games where he just looks like awful. And we know it's not even all his fault. It's like a lot of his supporting cast, but continue. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, I'm really surprised that I'm the only one that likes the Lions defense. I mean, they're at home, which is always a plus for a defense, and they're barely underdogs in the second lowest total on the slate. So I don't know. I guess.
Well,
Chase the GOAT Daniel.
Yeah. I mean, how many passes do you think Chase Daniel throws in that game?
25?
Under 25 is so like
Really?
what kind of?
Oh wow.
So what kind of
I'll take the
opportunity are you expecting?
But you really think under 25?
But he has way less turnover.
Do you want to make a bet on this?
Who?
Who?
Do you guys want to make a bet that he throws over 25 passes? Chase Daniel?
You think it's going to be well under?
Well over.
Well over?
Okay. I like the over. That's what I was saying. I was like 25. It's like
I think you'd like it more if Trubisky was playing on the flip side, because he's taking more shots downfield and he's running around more. Where Chase Daniel's going to just dump it off, man. He's throwing everything in the intermediate range. Like if he throws more than one interception, I'm going to be surprised.
I'll take one interception from a $2,300 defense. I'm fine with that. Like, and especially if they're going to be low owned. Like, I think the Lions are really a phenomenal tournament play. Obviously, not a cash game option. You know, cash games.
Listen, man, there are only 6 defenses. I'm not going to fault you for playing one of them.
Think if you had you know, if you had played that the Thursday through Monday and you had exposure to like the Rams or the Chiefs defense. Think about it. You know, you're waking up in a fucking Bugatti. You know what I'm saying?
Echo Bomb's just coming to your house and just like, dude, that dude is a beast. He could be stopped.
He actually is a beast. He actually is a beast. You know, he played with Cooper Kupp and Kendrick Bourne at Eastern Washington, and he's a freak show athlete. Freak show. Samson Ekubam. Remember his name because he's going to be special one day.
All right. You know,
that dude was in the money, man, on Monday.
You know, we kind of talked about some of these other, like Drew Brees, obviously we love him. Alvin Kamara, look, if you're going to build a running back to attack the Falcons with, it would be Alvin Kamara. Yeah, obviously they're great plays. I think these Saints receivers are one of the ways that on this slate you can either win or lose it, because Traquan Smith obviously had the big game last week. Now he's questionable. He says he's fine, that he's going to play. It's just tough to plan for it because, again, this is the night game. You don't have anybody to pivot to if he's out. Next thing you know, you're leaving freaking $2K on this table because Traquan Smith, 4,700. You go down to Austin Carr, Keith Kirkwood, Brandon Marshall, maybe. Evan, how do you break down these like secondary Saints pieces?
Hey, by the way, a dude, Fast Eddie Fear, has done a great job of highlighting, by the way, about leaving money on the table on short slates. Mm-hmm. And this is actually a great strategy. It's a great strategy. Yeah. And it's not, I've actually heard, what's the dude's name? Asani Fisher. Mm-hmm. He was like, you know, really smart dude. Yeah. He's talked about this too, how he like really struggled to, you know, just mentally be able to leave money on the table, you know, when he's built, especially on, you know, on short slates. That's the way to win short slates.
Of course.
Yeah. But people don't know that. People don't know that. And like, I struggle with that. Like I know that. I'm thinking about that in my freaking brain. And I'm still like, oh, should I use this extra 700 to get from, you know, Sanu to Calvin Ridley?
Well, you got to think of it like this too, because if you hit, let's say you spend all 50K your salary cap, right? Yeah. And you hit. Your upside is so limited because that you're going to chop that. If you spend to the cap on a 3-game slate, you are 100% going to chop first place. So really,
there's nothing wrong with chopping.
I mean, when it's $250,000 for first, or you win $3,000, you know, like and we've seen that sort of difference. That's a big time difference. So really, you're actually by spending that full cap, you're actually capping your upside, which is in terms of not something that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So to me, no, I'll tell you, and another example of this is during the Masters, and obviously we're a football show, but during the Masters, when it's a massive milli maker, on 100% of the teams, I leave at least $200 on the table, because I'll tell you, RotoGrinders did a study on this a few years ago before I was with them, and it's something like 83 or 86% of all teams either spent all the way to the cap or within $100 to the cap. So even, I'm sure that number's less now, but if 75% of the people are spending within 100, $200 of the cap, you're getting a massive edge on the field if you end up having the winner. And, winning $3 or $4 grand is nice, but that's not why we're playing these contests. We're playing to win $250,000 bucks. So it just doesn't make sense.
Let me talk about another couple of examples about this. So, I don't know if you know who the dude Oreo is, but he was the partner for E. Hafner for a while.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and everyone knows E. Hafner, right? I think he's still top 10 RotoGrinders, or at least he was for a lot of the years. And so when he would do his fantasy cruncher builds, he would actually set it at leaving always leaving at least 400 on the table. Always leaving at least 400 on the table. So he would never have a perfect, you know what I'm saying? Like he would never have a perfect, $0 or left.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And, which I think is interesting because, as someone who, sets my lineups and then, hey, if I feel like, I can just like blam, hey, I can jam this dude in and like have zero money left. I'm like, yes, I feel like that's like an accomplishment, but it's really, and I guarantee you, 95% of the field feels that way. It's not the way to win any freaking tournaments, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
and sometimes like when I like leave like 600 on the table, for cash games, I'm like, I feel like uncomfortable, but I'm like, you know what, like this is the best lineup I can freaking come up with, man. Yeah. And I'm gonna run this, and but it doesn't feel comfortable. It's all about feeling, yeah.
Yeah, Reeves, you're never looking at that situation saying, God, I love my, you might say you love your lineup, but that little 600 there, there at some point we've all been conditioned to say that, well, we have the extra money, the better guy is going to be more expensive, we got to go play that guy. And Reeves, that just isn't the case a lot of the time.
Well, I mean, you said it the best when you open there to piggyback off of Evan. I mean, if you feel great about your lineup on a slate like this, someone has that same exact lineup. Like it is in the bag. Like that if you're maxing out if you're going 50 or 60K, depending on your site, someone has that same lineup. You're 100% running into that lineup somewhere else. So, I mean, that's basically what you're trying to avoid here. And these are the types of slates I think we've talked about earlier. You want to be uncomfortable. You want to feel uncomfortable about your lineups on these types of slates. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's better to leave some money on the table and differentiate than it is just to spend at the cap, because again, salaries aren't perfect. This isn't a
it's honestly like one of the best tips that you can give anyone. And I mean, again, like I struggle with it myself. Asani Fisher is on podcast saying that he struggles with it. It's freaking human nature. We all struggle with all these, psychological biases that we have, and one of the goals to like getting an edge on the field, because everyone has these friggin' psychological biases. One of the ways to get an edge on the field is to resist these psychological biases, whether it be recency bias, whether it be, a highlight bias, hey, this dude shows up on, friggin', what is that? Red zone, all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different biases that we have. And, definitely in DFS, one of the biggest biases is filling out the salary cap. And it's really silly if you think about it. If you zoom out and think about it, it's really freaking silly that you would care that much, that you would maybe make a suboptimal play to get to 60,000 as opposed to doing what you really think is right and just playing at 5,500,
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'll tell you what, I think it's a little bit different. The one sport I do like to spin almost all the way to the cap is NBA. because I feel like we're looking so much for point per dollar.
Totally different sport, though, man.
Yeah.
Totally
No,
different
exactly.
sport. Yeah.
Exactly. But in sports like football, like baseball, like hockey, that are so big play dependent, the cap just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Like, play the guys you like, and if you leave $1,000 on the table, good for you, because you're going to be winning that tournament by yourself.
I could be a fool, but I think that people who win, like in baseball, don't they leave like a shit ton of money out there?
I mean, it just kind of depends on the pitching
Okay.
side. It depends on the pitchers a lot of the time. But like for hitters, baseball, more than any other sport, I don't care about salary whatsoever. All right, let's get back to the Saints, because we kind of talked about, leaving a lot of money on the table. And one of the ways that you're going to be doing that, if you kind of load up on these secondary Saints pieces, because Traquan Smith, he's under 5K after the big game. And he might not play. If he doesn't play, Austin Carr, Keith Kirkwood, Brandon Marshall, even Josh Hill, Ben Watson, Arnold, Reeves boy. Reeves, what do you think about these secondary Saints pieces?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm really bummed out that Traquan is dealing with this injury at the beginning of the week, because he's totally like the kind of guy in a spot, like in a slate like this, you would want to go under the field on. Not that I think he's a bad play at all, but you have a guy that had probably the best game he'll have all season last week. Is on a short slate, a game that everyone's going to be watching, and was good, and his price is still favorable. So he's a guy that the field. I mean, do you have his projected ownership probably was probably just silly, and he's totally the type of guy that boomer bust.
Brian, you can look it up. What is it?
What? I'm sorry. What was it?
What is Traquan Smith's ownership?
Projected ownership.
Let me check it out really quick.
Because he's 100% in the bucket of guys you would fade if it's going to be 40%, because he's that boom bust guy. And you get
it won't be because of the injury.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm bummed out about that, because he's totally the guy you come under the field on.
You think?
Absolutely. That's just those boom bust guys, when they have ownership that's projected to be high, you always come in under those guys, because if they don't pop.
What's his ownership?
Okay, I'll let you guys guess.
On this slate?
Yep.
35.
Evan?
Hang on.
All right.
He's got the Q mark next to his name.
Yes.
And he didn't practice on Monday or Tuesday.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to say 26.
I think this is completely wrong. Right now, we've got him projected at 5.
Oh.
I don't see a way that's possible. But again, one of the things is
fire the fucking cannon.
Oh no, of course. Like one of the things is too. We've talked about how
let's get rich.
The pricing is on this slate, and a lot of my builds have Traquan in them already. So, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, if it
sure, all right. This is DK.
Yeah, that's DK. No, I know. I had to do the double take. I had to refresh, and I'm looking at week 12 Thanksgiving.
5.
Oh, he's 5K. Oh my god.
No, 5%.
Yeah, he's 4,700.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, and I really hope that. That's the case.
Jamino, right? Jamino's he's good.
Yeah, he's good. So
listen, you can ignore everything I said if it's 5.
If it's 5 bombs away, like it's like how could you possibly fade that? I'm going to be priced 7 or 8x the field. Like if it's only 5% again.
If it's 5, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's under 10. I don't think it's under 10. I don't think it's under 15. But we kind of talked about this before, where I said that
it's the injury thing, man.
It's not only is it the injury thing, but people don't have a pivot. And people don't like to play that guy, put him in your lineups if you can't say, because look, when lineups start, when this slate starts, we are not going to know about Traquan Smith.
On FanDuel, you can pivot to Calvin Ridley very easily, by the way.
Okay, well that's good. Like he's about 700 more over on DK, but on FanDuel, if you can just get to Ridley, that makes it really something.
Hey,
I love Ridley.
I didn't even check today with Traquan Smith. Did he get even a limited practice?
I can look it up real quick.
I'm going to hit up Nick Underhill right now and see if
I think there was conflicting reports that someone said he didn't practice, and then someone said he was limited.
That was on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, it says this is from Mike Triplett. Saints wide receiver Traquan Smith returned to practice on a limited basis Wednesday.
Okay, so he was there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But and I did read this part. Traquan said he feels good and ready, and he says, "In my eyes, I'm playing tomorrow."
Yeah, well, if he was there, he's
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
it's like Friday practice.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I'm just loading up on Traquan, and if I have to do a global swap to Kirkwood or whatever, like Okay, that's fine. Like
we don't at 5, man. If
not Kirkwood, homie. Not Kirkwood.
no. Well, is it Austin Carr then? Are we rolling with Brandon Marshall if Traquan's out?
No, you want to leave some money on the table and just get to Sanu.
All right, hey, I have no problem. Oh, that's true. That's easy. Yeah.
Unless you already have Sanu in, you know. No, it's a legit. It's very strategic. The shit is very strategic.
Yeah. No, I think it's it's definitely. I'm playing Traquan, and if he's not in, I'll figure it out then. But I'm just going to assume he's in.
All right, I'm asking my Saints beat writer. Hopefully, we can get a response on the show. But I just asked him.
We got about 5 minutes left because I know the D-Train's
He's usually quick. He's usually quick.
All right, I appreciate that. On the Falcons side, Reeves, what do you think about these guys like Calvin Ridley and Mohamed Sanu, and even a guy like Tevin Coleman or Ito Smith or Austin Hooper?
Yeah, they're all fine except for probably like Hooper and Ito Smith. I'm probably not going to really have anything on. I mean, Hooper. I mean, he does have he does have some high. He had 8 targets last week too. I mean, you look at the Saints, man. They just have not given up anything to any tight ends. They've played a lot, a smattering of guys that are like pretty decent. Obviously, Ertz last week in that game. They played Kyle Rudolph. They played David Njoku. They played Jordan Reed. They played O.J. Howard. They haven't allowed any top 12 scoring tight end any week of the season yet. They're the only team that has it. They've only allowed 1 touchdown. It was to Mark Andrews. Not a lot to really love with Austin Hooper there. I mean, I know that you said the chat loves him, and he's the guy that's going to pop. I mean, I can see just playing the game total and getting your way to him just because it's him, Jordan Reed, and Trey Burton is like the only dudes like people even know who they are. That you could pick from, basically. But I'm not high on him. And Ito Smith, man, like Ito Smith was just like a dude that forever was just hoodwinking people, just living off of like his 1 touchdown a game. This dude has 26 or fewer yards in 4 of his 6, past 6 games. If he doesn't get a touchdown, he's completely useless. And even when he gets a touchdown, he's just okay. He's like Evan would say, like he'd be like, he's like if Theo Riddick would score, I guess. Like even worse.
No, that's what I'm saying. You guys know how I feel about this. I just want exposure to the game environment. And if
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, like he's so cheap that I'm willing to roll the dice there.
Sure, I get it. I mean, I feel like if Ito Smith even scores a touchdown, though, like I don't know if you're really getting an edge on like the running back field, like on the slate.
So, Evan, you kind of mentioned earlier that you like Mohamed Sanu a lot. I know Calvin Ridley is really interesting to you. What do you think about those secondary pieces for Atlanta? Because obviously we like Julio.
I mean, they're all right.
All right. I thought you were all about some Mo Sanu. He's in your cash team, baby.
No, Sanu. Yes, and I'm playing Sanu. I told you that from the get-go. I told you that in the first statement. I think that was my second sentence that I said on the damn show, Crane. I'm sticking by that. Crane, Sanu at 5,300. Look, I'm okay if he gives me 4 for 50. If he gives me 4 for 50 with a touchdown, I'm waking up in a damn Bugatti.
The Evan Gotti.
That's how I viewed it. That's how I view it. With Reeves by my side.
am I in the trunk? Where am I?
You're in like a minivan, like a couple cars back.
How do I get stuck in the minivan? This is crap.
That's what happens when you have a kid, man.
Oh man, you ain't lying. All right, so guys, I know a lot of the time we usually talk about other stuff, but we just spent an hour on the Thanksgiving slate, and I know the D-Train's got to get home, so we're gonna go.
It's fine.
But it's been a lot of fun, guys. Good luck to everybody tomorrow. I hope the Saints bring back Kobe Fleener because we do need some tight end value. So hopefully he makes a return.
Kobe Fleener is out in Google. He's working for Google.
What?
No, that is, dude. I'm telling you, I know like the Saints beat writers that cover the team. They are like, this dude never should have been playing football. Like he should be working out, for like a startup in, what is it? What's the valley out there?
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yeah, Silicon Valley. He's probably like trying to get a job for Google or something. He's
already paid though. He doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. I just Googled Kobe Fleener at Google and I couldn't find anything. I think it's right. We really got to go though. I got to get the train home. Everybody, good luck tonight or good luck tomorrow. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for joining our show every single week. This is one of the most fun shows I get to do all week, and of course, it is an absolute pleasure working with you, Evan. Pleasure working with you, Reeves. we're gonna get out of here. I'm Eric. Thanks.
Hey! Before we check out, the beat writer got back to me. And look, he's like, don't hold me to this, but he said Keith Kirkwood told him off the record. He said, "We're on the record now, aren't we?" Keith Kirkwood told him.
Don't burn a source for this show.
Keith Kirkwood told him that they have a bunch of stuff in the playbook for him this week. Look, I'm not playing Keith Kirkwood, but if you want to get nuts, play fucking Keith Kirkwood. Killer Keith.
All right, interesting.
Listen, that was a drop on this show.
That was amazing. Evan also lost the source live on air. That was really interesting too. So, all right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Chat, even happy Thanksgiving to you. It's been a lot of fun. For Evan, for Reeves, I'm Eric. We'll see you guys. Peace.